To take a page out of Jerry Jaffe's book, Ladies of Twitter, it's time to have a tough conversation. Let me start by saying I believe a lot of you are well intentioned and possibly even intelligent, despite how hard you are trying to convince everyone otherwise. I truly appreciate women supporting other women publicly. As a Chinese girl who grew up in the Western world competing against men since I was 4 years old, I assure you I have encountered my fair share of sexism and misogyny. But after reading through this thread showing the most liked tweets regarding the ongoing poker scandal, an intervention is necessary. So to you, my well-intentioned but misguided feminist friends, I assure you, Robbi played the hand like an absolute train wreck. She knows it, it's provable, and no one who understands poker is reacting to that objective fact because they hate women. Also, quick side note, for anyone interested, I'll be including the simple strategy involved in this hand at the end of the video explained by a high stakes pro. Here we have another great take. In reality, Robbi herself knew she played the hand so poorly that she was too embarrassed in the moment to admit she didn't know what she had, and then waited 3 days before now finally admitting she misread her hand. There was no amazing read of Garret where she thought Jack High was good, and there was no incredible outplay. Just a recreational woman making a disastrous poker play for a lot of money on a big stage and getting very, very lucky. And you know what? That's totally okay. You, as a woman on the internet, don't need to rush in screaming sexism the second you see a male saying something about a woman you don't understand. Sometimes women make mistakes too, just like all of you have done by aggressively commenting on something you very clearly have absolutely no clue about. So please, on behalf of women who do understand poker, stop embarrassing us. For the first time in what is, I'm sure, a while for some of you, just sit this one out. Because if I have to read another tweet womansplaining that if a man made one of the worst calls in the history of televised poker, we'd all be praising him despite how horrific it is just because he couldn't bear children, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Joining me is World Series of Poker champion, high stakes cash game regular, and my own coach, Thalo.
Hey Nemo, I understand you want to show your audience exactly why this hand is just as terrible as all the poker players are claiming it is. And I'm going to try to do that in a way that even if you aren't a poker professional or don't understand poker theory, you can still follow along. Here we have the two hands that were played, but unfortunately, with this exact scenario, unless you actually are cheating, you can't ever put your opponent in poker on a specific hand. In this case, Robbi has no way of knowing he has exactly 8 high in this spot. What she's assuming, if she's reading him as well as she or other people have claimed, is that he's bluffing. So what we want to do is look at the type of bluffs Garret could use in this spot to go all in. Now, if he's doing this with the 8-7 of clubs, we can make a safe assumption that he's also going to be doing this with some of his other club draws with straight draws in it. So let's look at some of those first. Queen 8 of clubs, for example. That hand already 95.5% against Robbi's Jack High. What about the King Queen of clubs? Also 95.5%. What if we upgrade his hand to a nut flush draw without the straight draw? Maybe he's going all in with his hand. Maybe he's not. Even so, 88.6% here. Maybe what if we assume that Robbi has an incredible read and Garrett's having a terrible day and is going in with some of his worst bluffs at this spot? What if he's just using the Queen of Clubs as a blocker and going in with something like Queen of Clubs plus a straight draw? Queen 8 suited, Queen 8 offsuit here with the Queen of Clubs, 93%. Queen Jack for a straight draw here, 93%. Even King Queen here stays at 93% because the Jack isn't a live out. This really shows that when we look at the type of hands Robbi was likely to be against, she's in terrible, terrible shape, even if she knows he's bluffing. That's the main problem with this hand. Now, Robbi's a fairly recreational player, and Garret is one of the most experienced pros out there, and one of the better high-stakes no-limit players. The chances that she actually has a read on him are very low, which means he could also have some hands for value in this spot. When we look at his value hands, they're going to have a 10 in them. There's two 10s on the board. And she's actually drawing stone dead against any 10, a literal 0%. This is why poker players everywhere have more or less unanimously agreed that you can't hero call here with Jack High. The concept of hero calling means you're beating bluffs, and unfortunately, she's not really beating bluffs. She's just beating this very one specific hand that Garret miraculously had. And when she's only beating it to 54 to 55%, she's not even that far ahead. That's why this hand is one of the worst punts we've ever seen that turned into incredible dumb luck in a $270,000 pot.
Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to show my viewers. Hopefully, that clears up any misconceptions people had about this hand being possibly played well. That's all for now. See you next time.